Everybody back at you with another video. It is Friday. 49ers face the Detroit Lions on Monday Night Football. 49ers are on the practice field a little bit later in the day. But I just thought I'd talk a little bit more about the offensive line since it seems like everybody who hits me up on social media, that's the topic. And obviously, I think a lot of 49er fans are of the opinion 49ers offensive line is one of the worst in the game. And so what do I envision for the offensive line this offseason and heading into next year? I'm going to talk about that a little bit here. But first, this video is brought to you by Canyon Club Brewery, located in Moraga, California. They have a wide variety of beer styles, so check all those out. They usually have, what is it, about 24 different beers styles on the menu. My favorite's the solid IPA, but they have Kolsch, they have stouts, they have sours, they have all kinds of different beers to satisfy your needs. And also great menu as far as the tasty bites go. Can't go wrong with anything on the menu. So check it out, Canyon Club Brewery, and coming soon to the Livery in Danville. Okay, so first off, one thing we didn't cover yesterday. 49ers opened the practice window for linebacker Tatum Bethon. He was injured a few weeks back. They placed him on IR. So opening that practice window this late in the season, I would assume that means a very good chance that he will be activated to the 53 man and appear in this game against the Lions on Monday night. Okay, now about the offensive line. Just dropped the 49ers Talk podcast this morning, or maybe it was yesterday, and Jennifer and I spoke about the offensive line and the changes that could be coming on the offensive line this offseason. I did chat with Aaron Banks on Thursday, and he's the one guy where I just don't see that he'll be back on the team next season. Not because the 49ers wouldn't want him back, but I just think with all the other stuff going on with the roster, all the free agents, Brock Purdy going to be getting a new deal that'll place him among the very highest paid players in the NFL, if not the highest paid player in the NFL. I don't see the 49ers extending themselves to sign Aaron Banks to a long-term extension. In fact, overthecap.com has him valued at $8.4 million for one season. So that's annual. And over the course of his 4 seasons with the 49ers, that's how much Aaron Banks made. Another thing with the 49ers is just the precedent that they've set. It has been a long, long time since they drafted an offensive lineman, kept that offensive lineman on the active roster throughout, and then signed that offensive lineman to a contract extension. The last one was Daniel Kilgore, believe it or not. Drafted in 2011. He made it through his rookie contract. They ended up signing him to an extension, and then even the new regime of Lynch and Shanahan, not quite a new regime anymore, seeing that they've been at this for quite some time now, but they signed him to an extension as well before moving on and bringing in Weston Richburg. But the only other guy, like 2010, it would have been Anthony Davis, who they drafted, signed to an extension. The closest since then has been Colton McCoy. They drafted him, but then the second year they released him. And so he wasn't on the active roster the entire time. He ended up spending some time on the practice squad before they bumped him up back to the active roster. And they have since given him a new deal. So when you look at Aaron Banks, what I talked to him about the offseason, the uncertainty of the offseason. And he just said, it's a bridge that he'll cross when he gets there. He said he's just trying to do everything today while he's here. And he said he hopes to still be here, but he says he just wants to think about, helping the guys out, all the replacements coming in, a lot of new faces. 49ers signed Matt Hennessy off the Falcons practice squad. They signed Heck, the offensive lineman off the. Now I'm starting to just forget who's okay. He was with Arizona, And then last week, Austin Pleasance. So they have three new offensive linemen coming in that a week ago weren't even on the team. And they did move up Pleasance from the practice squad. They had initially signed him to the practice squad last week and they bumped him up to the 53-man roster. So a lot of new faces on the 49ers. The interesting thing about Matt Hennessy was that he was a third round draft pick back 4 years ago. And he started a lot of games with the Falcons, 17 in his second NFL season. The 49ers had a high grade on him coming out of that draft. They did sign him to a 2-year deal. Of course, none of that's guaranteed, but it's basically he's under contract now for the 2025 season. Is he a candidate to be a starter next year? Probably not, but if he that opportunity will be there for him if he shows enough while he's with the 49ers the rest of this season and then off-season training camp and whatever. But the point is, I don't know that the 49ers will be able to make this wholesale, wide sweeping changes on the offensive line that I think a lot of fans, at least on social media, have told me that they would like to see. I think Trent Williams will be back at left tackle. That injury, the ankle injury, doesn't appear to be something long term at his age. As he's starting to think about the end of the line for him, perhaps, but I think he still has a lot of football left in him. I don't think this season's the kind of season that he wants to go out on, and he'd be leaving a lot of money on the table if he doesn't come back in 2025. So I think Trent Williams will be at left tackle. I think Colton McKivitz, who this season is graded out as one of the better right tackles in the NFL, I think he will be back at right tackle. And then Dominic Pooney is kind of a wild card as far as where they expect to have him. He, from day one, has been their right guard. He has position flexibility. He can play anywhere on that offensive line. But let's just say they keep him at right guard. So Dominic Pooney right there. So there's three guys on the offensive line that I think you can be pretty sure are going to be back in their spots next season. The two that are a little bit iffy, I'd say Jake Brendel is the most likely candidate to be the center next season, with maybe getting pushed by Hennessy, maybe being pushed by a rookie. I just think it's really difficult for a rookie to step in at center and win a job as a rookie in this offense. And there's also Drake Nugent, who the 49ers signed as an undrafted rookie. He played most of his college career at Stanford, then went to Michigan. And so he's been with the team the entire season. Is he ready to be an upgrade at center? That totally remains to be seen. So those are four spots that I think seem, I mean, three of them I think are pretty well set. The fourth, I think Brendel is the clear favorite to return as a starter. And then the left guard position remains to be seen. Before Ben Bartz sustained the injury, I thought he had a really good chance to kind of solidify himself in that role, and he still might. But I do think the 49ers will have that opportunity in this draft to get a guard, get an interior offensive lineman in the second, third round who could potentially be like Dominic Pooney and start from day one. So that's how I see the 49ers offensive line. And I know a lot of people, a lot of fans are talking about how bad the offensive line is. Let me share some numbers. And I rely on PFF for this reason. It's the only organization I know of that watches every game, grades every player. And so, for me to sit back, or anybody, probably anybody who's watching this video, to sit back and say 49ers have, this is where they rank in the offensive line based on the eyeball test that I have. I think that's really difficult to do, but PFF grades every team. And I was kind of surprised. I was surprised at a couple things because talk about Caleb Williams, the rookie, and how now what was he been? I think he's been sacked 67 times. The Chicago Bears, as far as pass blocking grade, actually rank 10th in the league, 10th best, which is it's shocking, but maybe it's not so much because I mean even watching the Thursday night game. I'm watching the end of that game with my daughters, and one of my daughters is yelling at the TV, "Throw the ball!" He's stressing me out, talking about Caleb Williams, and I'm sitting there going, "Gosh, why doesn't he? He just needs to throw the ball." He's so indecisive, and he holds the ball too long. And so I'm surprised that the Bears grade out that highly on PFF, but at the same time, I'm not surprised. Caleb Williams does absolutely nothing to help out his offensive line. But here's some of the surprising parts for me is that the 49ers actually rank for pass blocking, again, according to PFF, take that with a grain of salt, but they rank, let's see what it was now, 13th in the league in 14th in the league in pass blocking. The Detroit Lions, that I think a lot of us would probably think without looking at this that, oh, they must rank number one in the league in pass blocking or certainly top three. They rank one spot behind the 49ers. So, you know, I, I, I guess what I'm saying is we can dispute that all we want, but I don't know of anybody who's watched like every snap of every game and actually graded, the 49ers offensive line or graded the Detroit Lions offensive line or the top pass blocking line in the league, according to PFF, is Denver. So my point is that if you think the 49ers have it bad, there are a lot of teams that have it worse. And it's very difficult to, just say, oh, the sacks are this, so therefore that team must be really bad. What I have seen from this season, though, is it just seems like Brock Purdy isn't getting rid of the ball as quickly as he had in the past. And I'm not sure for why that is exactly, other than, he is holding it longer. He's scrambling around. He's making more plays with his legs. He's rushing for more yards. He's rushing for more first downs. He's rushing for more touchdowns. And so that is definitely the positive part of this, is that Brock Purdy has added that element to his game. But it also means, I think, that he is holding the ball longer. And are there plays where the protection breaks down immediately and now he has to kind of run for his life a little bit? Absolutely. But are there plays when he can get the ball out quicker and he hasn't been able to do that? I'm sure that's the case as well. So, offensive line, quarterback, passing game, running back, running game, they all kind of tie in together, and they do help each other out, or in some cases, they make each other kind of look worse than they actually are. So that's kind of my take on the offensive line. With the three new guys, we don't know exactly who's going to be starting at left tackle. Spencer Burford, who, of course, started a lot of games last season at right guard, he has moved to left tackle. And so he's basically the third option at left tackle behind Trent Williams, who's out for the season, behind Jalen Moore, who's out for the season. So Burford has a calf injury. He didn't practice on Thursday. Kyle Shanahan said it will be tight whether he'll be able to play against the um, against the Detroit Lions on Monday night. And so if he isn't, it's kind of anybody's guess who will take over that job. I do think that um, these practices, there's going to be competition to see who it is, who's best prepared, who's best equipped to take over. Charlie Heck, as I mentioned earlier, he's the son of Andy Heck, who played 12 years in the NFL and has been the offensive line coach for the Kansas City Chiefs for a while. So Charlie Heck might have an opportunity. He comes from a similar system, having worked most recently with Bobby Slowick with the Houston Texans. And so Heck has 21 starts in his career over 5 seasons. Like I said, he was plucked off the Arizona Cardinals practice squad. So he's somebody who could fit in there. But 49ers will have 8 offensive linemen in uniform, and 3 of those guys more than likely will be guys who weren't even with the team a week ago. So that's kind of the update from the 49ers as they get ready. They continue preparations, and maybe I'll check in later in the day with an injury update and any other things that I glean out of the 49ers open locker room. So again, thanks for watching this, and that is it for now.